G'day guys, my name is Wildcard, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching my content, I really do appreciate it. Super Rugby Round 3, New Zealand Day 2, Blues versus the Chief, back at Eden Park. And this was also the big return of Beauden Barrett. I'm not gonna lie, I was looking forward to watch Beauden play, and really didn't do that much. But yeah, he looked like he came on the field as a fullback, and then was playing 10 towards the end, because when he was on the field initially at halftime, the Blues number 10 was still on the field. So yeah, it was kind of weird to see how they shuffled around. Maybe they shuffled him at 10 and had their 10 moving to 12. Is that what happened? They had Plummer moving to 12. Is that what happened? But yeah, it was a bit weird because they took out Roger Tuivasi-Sheck from center because he was getting targeted a lot in the first half, and yeah, they basically, and I think he might have got hurt a little bit as well. So yeah, he was taken out and Beauden was on at halftime. Let's talk about the finish. So this game was quite close once again. The Blues was 5 points down, trying to score a try to pull ahead just before the end of the game with about 3-4 minutes left. I think there was a line out, and then this kind of like wasn't going anywhere. Beauden calls for the ball, and yeah, just gets the ball, spreads it out wide. Blues had to lay out on the wing, goes in for the try, and then it was, as you can see, the try was scored on 74th minute, and the Blues just taking everything super slow. And then basically they had to do the kickoff with about 2 minutes left, and then Blues gets a penalty with like 30 seconds left, right? So they kick the penalty out inside the Chiefs 40 meter, and then they're just like, yeah, sure, we're gonna just finish off the last 30 seconds with this line out. And they basically obstructed their own like line out, and then I think they tried to set up a more, and then they just like ran into their own player, set up, and there was like an accidental obstruction. So Chiefs gets one last shot at the Blues, and I'm sure Leo McDonald is just like losing his hair at this point, right? And then the Chiefs kicks the ball out inside the Blues 40, and then immediately gets a penalty. And at this point, I felt like I swear to God, Leo McDonald would just be like losing his head at this point. So Chiefs gets the last shot to take the win, and thank goodness they missed. The Chiefs missed a couple penalties this game. So I was actually written down, there was a pretty easy penalty in the second half, like right in front, bit of distance on it, like about 40 meters out, but it was pretty straight, like a little bit of an angle. And the Chiefs kicker missed it. I actually written down, like, could this come back and hurt the Chiefs? And sure enough, yeah, that extra 3 points is what they needed to win the match. Overall, both teams had periods where they looked good, and both teams got a bit rusty. At the start, the Blues were a bit dominant, but they were not able to score points. And then the second half, both teams were kind of like, I don't know what was happening. So kind of both teams looked a bit, I don't know, rusty, I would say. Maybe looked a bit clunky in the second half of both teams. But yeah, this was overall a pretty highly contested match, as you would expect from the Kiwi sides. Their match stats, pretty close. 300 run meters for the Blues, 350 to the Chiefs. 11 turnovers for the Blues, conceded for the Blues. 13 turnovers conceded for the Chiefs. The tackle count, 124 for the Blues, 22 missed tackles. The Chiefs, a lot better, 130 tackles with only 14 missed tackles. The lineouts for the Blues is probably the other issue that was having. Yeah, look at that. Chiefs missed 3 penalty goals. That really came back and hurt them quite a bit. If one of those would have gone through, they would have won the game. The lineouts, the Blues had quite a bit of issue there. 3 lineouts lost on their own throw. That is not something that you want to do. The Chiefs had 1 scrum penalty, a scrum lost. The Blues had a yellow card. Caleb Clark, the Blues was kind of like defending their own try line. Caleb Clark, deliberate knock on, yellow card. And yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. 12 penalties conceded for the Blues as well, and 9 for the Chiefs. So overall, a quick run through for all the tries and points. So Blues, like I said, kind of started off quite strong. 2 minutes in, already opted for the 3 points. and showed a lot of respect for the Chiefs taking the 3 right off the board. A few minutes later, on the 6th minute, Blues gets in the front foot. Just a bit of a good attacking, end up finding Weber on the wing, going in on the wing. The Chiefs gets back 5 points to 3. Couldn't convert this one from an angle, and then the Blues comes back on the the Chiefs gets back in the second try on the 18th minute. So they had a bit of line out where they kind of did a little tricky play up front. So the line out went to the front, and then they just kind of like juggled the ball a little between each other with the forwards up front and did like a huge run. And then eventually that set up a platform for the Chiefs to attack. And then there was basically, they spread from one end to the field to the other end and spread back. And then on the return back to the original side that the ball kind of like line out started, a big gap opened up in the back line. And then Caleb Clark, too fast, too big, power through, goes in for the blue. Sorry, did I say Caleb Clark? Anani Saturu goes in for the first try. Caleb Clark gets the first try on the Blues following a Chiefs error in their own like 5-meter line out. They basically messed up the line out, and then the ball went into their own try zone, and then they got tackled in goal, and the Blues gets a scrum, center field scrum, 5-meter scrum, and then basically the ball comes out, goes straight to Clark. Caleb Clark, too big, too powerful, in the center field, crashes through for the first try for the Blues, gets back on the board. And then that was it. That was all the points that was scored in the first half. So 10 points to 12, Blues going halftime 2 points down. Second half starts of the game. Beauden gets on the field. I was expecting the game to lift a bit. Didn't really make much of a difference, to be fair, for Beauden. RTS comes off the field. And then 5 minutes into the game, Hoskins, so Tutu managed to charge down the Chiefs fullback with a clearance kick. And then he basically, both players were chasing the ball. It looked like Tutu had gave the fullback a push, so he couldn't pick up the ball. And then Tutu grounds the ball in goal, right? The referee had a look. It didn't really look like a push. It looked like a pat, but I do feel like he probably did. You know, it's hard to tell how hard the push was because, you know, it's a replay. It looked like he just like patted him on the back, but it definitely looked like he interfered with him. But the referee says it didn't look like a push. He just looked like a pat, which I thought that's probably a bit of like on replay, especially in slow motion, a push, you know, like a very hard hit could look like a touch, right? Like, you know, it's hard to tell how much of a push that is, but it did look like he was affected. He was going to ground the ball and he like overran the ball, right? Like it did look like he was affected because he doesn't make any sense. So I would assume the push was much harder than just a pat. So I thought there was a wrong decision here by the referee. But so Tutu gets the ball, the Blues gets the try anyway, and 45 minutes in, Blues pulls back in front. 49th minute, Caleb Clark deliberate knock on following Chiefs pressure. 63rd minute, Chiefs had a penalty. This was one where I talked about was really kind of like kickable. 40-35, just inside the 40. And then it was kind of like right in front, tiny bit of an angle. Missed this one. I thought that was something that was desperately needed for the Chiefs. And then on the 51st minute, Chiefs gets their third try in the game with Weber. And that kind of like, from there on, both teams after that kind of evened out quite a bit. The Chiefs you can see the Chiefs' plan was just to try to stay ahead and chip ahead. Eventually, Blues were able to put some pressure on. Chiefs was only 5 points ahead, not able to convert it. And then the Blues eventually was able to put on a lot of pressure following some penalties that was kind of given away by the Chiefs. The Blues were able to get inside the Chiefs half for a 5-meter line out. The line out comes in, ball goes out to Beauden. All he had to do pass the ball to the back line. They spread the ball out wide. Weber was on the wing with a bit of a gap, goes in for the final try. Scores were leveled, 22-22. I think one of the Chiefs reserves was kicking. So like they had never kicked before. So instead of Beauden taking this really important kick, they had someone, I think was it Sam Knock? I think Sam Knock was doing this final kick. Was it him? Let's have a look. Gatlin? No, wait, where's the penalty? Oh, okay. Perofeta was doing the kick. So who's this guy? I'm not too sure who this guy is. get to see. What? Oh yeah, so the fullback was doing this kick for the Blues instead of Beauden, because obviously we know Beauden's kicking hasn't been on point. He kicks the ball, goes straight down the center. First time he's done a kick apparently. Quite important kick as well, goes through right on the sideline, so this was quite good. And Blue gets in front by 2, and then as we talked about, looked like Blues were also gonna throw the game away for the second week in a row, but Chiefs had a penalty, and kind of like the rest of the game, the penalties weren't good, and Blues gets off the hook. Let me know if you watched this game, guys. I thought this was quite close, bit clunky at times, but yeah, it was good to see Beauden back in the play. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I'll see you guys a bit later today. Cheers.